Welcome to Question It Podcast with Alexandra and
Janae, a space where we chat about any and everything. There's no topic too big or too taboo for us sisters to take on.
We promise to always give you uncensored questions and opinions.
Come on, let's chat.
Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the Question It podcast.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you guys here with us again. So Shal, what is the chatter for today?
So today we are chatting about becoming yourself and improving yourself, relearning yourself in the journey that is.
So becoming yourself, that can sound so cliche. I have a couple books like about becoming your best self, but like life doesn't come with a manuscript, and so sometimes people need some direction. I know at times I need direction on like what to do next, because it's so scary to think that you have like 90 to 100 years. I'm trying to live a long time of life to live.
I'll stick to the 80.
I want to see my great grands, but to think that you have so many years to live, and like that some people never grow or never change or never become a better version of themselves.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's definitely important to constantly be conscious of trying to improve yourself. What do you think we should be thinking about? Or
I think when it comes on becoming yourself or working on yourself, you always have to take that step back to childhood and think about everything that you were taught as a child, religion, how to clean yourself, how to cook, how to approach people, how to act in the job force, how to act at home. So you're taught all these things, and then it's kind of you start taking your own steps in life and you start unlearning and relearning a lot of things that you were taught. And I think everything should be questioned, not just certain areas of your life, but I think everything in your life should be questioned. Like, okay, dad said wash the dishes like this, but I just recently learned if you wash it this way, it's cleaner, it's shinier. Maybe I can switch it this way and maybe go and teach or show my family the way that I have just learned for myself how to do things. So I think it's constantly questioning everything that you have already learned and trying new things and kind of pushing yourself to learn those new things.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny that you said like the word unlearn things, because it's improving yourself. Like, I definitely agree with you. You can't improve yourself or even grow as a person if you're not aware of who you are to begin with. So I think that you have to ask yourself why first do you want to improve yourself? Like, what's the reason to improve yourself? Because if you don't have something motivating you, you're gonna exactly. Be one of those people who set a New Year's goal and then the ball drops and they forget about the goal. Like, you're not gonna work with it. But also not just asking yourself why, but asking yourself, like, how did I get here? Like you said, like, what was my childhood like? And I just think unlearning things as a mom, I have had to unteach myself a lot of things that we went through in our childhood. But like, do you think that it could be insulting to others or to family, like sometimes there's things that are so traditional. Your family like passes things down, and you might be the first person to say, hey, there's a better way. Like, do you think that's
I mean, honestly, I've always felt like I've been the outcast of the family, the outsider. Okay. I'm the one that's like, you guys have been doing things this way, but we're going to switch it up. So personally, I believe that feelings may be hurt, but that's part of listen, that is part of life. You're going to get your feelings hurt, and that's what a lot of people that's what a lot of people don't understand. You can't bubble wrap yourself for your whole life. Your feelings are gonna get hurt. So I think when it comes to unlearning and relearning, and when it comes to the opinions of others or having others look, and especially when it comes to family, like, hey, I never did that, why are you doing that? I think it's important to step outside of the box. I think it's important to stand your ground for what you believe in, because at the end of the day, they may be like, hey, why are you doing that? But they may also be taking it in and thinking about, I wonder if I would have done it this way, or, that's happening and it's coming out so much better than when I did this, or when I taught them this way. So I think it's very important to always step outside of the box and always try something new, and stand firm on it. Like, that's the thing, you have to stand firm on it and show others, like, look, this is what I believe and this is what's working for me. I think that's the most important thing in life, is what works best for you. I think a lot of times we think about other people's opinions and other people's reactions, and at the end of the day, working on yourself, you have to kind of be selfish and always think, okay, what's working best for me? This worked best for mom, this worked best for dad, this worked best for sis, but what works best for me, which I don't think a lot of people think about, because it can be hard.
Yeah. You make a lot of great points, and that's why I love you, and I love that you're my sister. But prioritizing yourself, like I've realized in my growth that I've needed to prioritize my own feelings, prioritize my own pain, my own hurt, in order to recognize when things were not right in my life, and be able to take steps to improving that. Like, the old me was, I think I'm still a little bit passive, but I think I used to be extremely passive. And that like almost stifled me in a way from being able to grow, especially mentally. Like, when you're not speaking up for yourself, when you're not standing your ground, that eats away at you. And it hurts you. And I was always someone who, I don't want to hurt other people. So it's like, you always let yourself get hurt instead of speaking up. But you have to realize that getting hurt is part of the journey. So like, you have to protect yourself. And some people see that as selfish, but
I think there's a good selfish.
yeah.
I think selfish is used in a very negative way, and like, oh, they're so selfish. But I think there is a positive outcome, or there can be a positive selfish way of doing things. If people aren't selfish, they don't have room, like you mentioned, they don't have room to grow mentally. They might not have room to grow financially. They might not build that confidence that they need, in order to take the steps through life. Confidence is a huge part in everything that you do every day. And I feel like having that those positive selfish moments are really big in life, and something that a lot of people need to start doing.
Yeah, I agree. And we're not talking about like selfish, like, no, eating last cookie, like not that.
Oh my goodness.
Like fighting with your siblings for the last bite of food. Not that kind of selfish.
Now that may be the negative side of selfish.
That's just greedy. I don't even know if that's selfish. But yeah, just realizing that it's okay to put yourself first, kind of selfish. Like it's okay for me to take this time and not go out with other people, not go to this event or show up for this or that, because I need this time personally to work on myself. I need to talk myself up. I think a big part of becoming your best self is positive talk and not letting like self-doubt take over or imposter syndrome take over. And this is something that you have to work on, like you have to coach yourself on. Sometimes it might, like for me, I remember when I first, like we've learned about affirmations and the law of attraction since we were little. But in my adult life, I remember when I came back to it, there were times where I was like listening to other people's affirmations and then reciting those, just to like get myself back into it. Sometimes you do need someone to walk you through it before you can start to believe it and start to fully embrace it and live in it yourself. But once you do that, that positive self-talk daily, like that has, I really think a big part of growth is like including that daily, like reminding yourself daily that, you know, you got this, you're capable, you're more than enough, you're this, you're that, whatever you need to fill up your cup for the day, you have to be the one filling up your cup. Because hearing positive talk from other people is nice, but you know, sometimes we hear something negative from other people and that cripples us and puts us into a depression and all that stuff. You have to be able to, when you hear that negative stuff, your brain automatically goes, you're the shit or whatever. Like, like your brain floods with all this positive stuff.
Rewiring your brain.
Exactly.
It's very, like you mentioned, imposter syndrome. And being an engineer at a dominantly white university and almost the only, I think, one of two Black students in the engineering department. I'm a senior now, but so my 4 years at Elon, that is definitely something that I struggled with and retouched, I would say, my junior year is affirmations and being grateful. I think a lot of times affirmations are wonderful and they're beautiful and they help out in everyday life. And that's something that should be part of your morning routine or your night routine. Or I'm eating lunch and I have nothing to think about, nothing to do right now. Let me state my affirmations while I'm sitting here. But I think being grateful and stating what you're grateful for, you know, anytime I'm really upset or anytime I feel like I'm in a fog or I'm overthinking too much, I always just, what are 5 things you're grateful for in this very moment? And, you know, a lot of times it can be the classic, oh, my family and the roof over my head and the job, but try to always take it deeper. Like, what am I grateful for in this moment? I'm grateful that I was able to go out with my friends for lunch today, or I'm grateful that today, as I was walking to class, my friend smiled at me, or this person noticed me, or I'm grateful that while I was studying, I may not have gotten an A, but I still passed and I still was able to retain and learn some information. You know, I think it's very important to always state what you're grateful for, especially in those moments where it feels like your whole world is crumbling, or it feels like you have nothing, or you're getting nowhere in life. Because once you state what you're grateful for, it's kind of like, wow, like, okay, it's not that bad, it's actually like I'm just being dramatic right now. So I think definitely gratefulness is a step that everyone should take.
Yeah, gratitude is life changing. Like when you can purposely live in a place of gratitude, like you're saying, it drastically changes things. Like, I am not going to sit here and pretend that I've been keeping up, but at the beginning of 2021, up until like June-ish, I was on a really, really great roll where every morning, same time every morning, I would get up. I'd have my little routine. I would get up. I would listen to a chapter of the Bible, like an audio version, and read along with it while I sip my tea. And then I would list 10 gratitudes, 10 things that I was grateful for at the beginning of the day. And then I would also list 10 things that I desired. And like you said, sometimes it was just like I was grateful for this hot cup of tea. And other times it was like, I'm grateful for my daughter, or I'm grateful for my home. Like there are deeper things, or grateful for getting this piece of information that I needed to take my business to the next level. But when you are living, I did notice that 2021 has been a crazy year for me. So like, I got my first home. I am carrying my second child. I monetized my social media more than I was able to in 2021. So there's like significant like checkbox differences between the year that I wasn't doing things out of gratitude and the year that I started with doing things out of gratitude. And now I don't physically write them down like I do every morning, but I am conscious and aware, and constantly saying thank you. Thank you to God. Thank you to the space. Thank you. Thank you. Because I know that what I have, where I am in life, like it could have been completely different. And so, yeah, I think that, like you said, like living out of a space of gratefulness definitely changes your aura, and that will lead you to being a better person. Like when you are happy, when you are grateful, you attract more light, more people into your circle.
We're focusing on that.
Yeah, more goodness. When you're living from a place of, well, I should have had this, or I could have had this, or why did he get this and I got this? Like when you're living out of why are they doing better? Why I deserve this, they don't deserve this. That's not going to bring good stuff back into your world. Like, never focus on what the next person is doing. Again, this becoming your best self, you have to be like totally focused on yourself, I think. So you might see someone doing well and you just say, you know what, thank you, that's awesome for them. And I'm grateful that my time will come too. Like you said, always just being in gratitude.
You have to stay in that.
Mm-hmm. So part of talking positive to yourself and living out of a place of gratitude, I would say, comes valuing yourself as well. So what do you think about that? Like,
I think you should be the first person on your list to take care of, to value, to treat well, to talk to well. You can't really be the best in life or do the things that you want to do in life without valuing yourself, without thinking highly of yourself. You know, you go to a job, if you don't have that confidence, if you don't value yourself enough to be able to be like, you know what, I know most of the information, I know half the information, or you know what, I may not know anything, but I know that I'm this and I know that I'm that. Or when it comes to new ideas, or when it comes to, hey, you want to do this and you're exhausted, you always have to value yourself and you always have to put yourself first in life, before anything. Because if you don't put yourself first, if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not speaking highly of yourself, nobody else is going to do it. You may have a husband, or you may have a wife, or a mom or dad, or someone to take care of you, but at the end of the day, they're not going to always know what you need as much as you will. They're not always going to know what you're seeking in life, or what is able to motivate you and get you up in the morning as much as you do. And that's why it's so important to always check in with yourself and check in with, okay, how am I doing right now? Or what can I do so that I can feel the best right now?
Yeah. We were talking about checking in and valuing yourself. That goes back to like prioritizing yourself, like we said earlier. But I was talking to someone a couple days ago, and she was like, you know, the beauty of the pandemic happening in 2020 was the fact that we were told to stay inside, to go inside. And she said, you got to take it a little bit further and actually go inside yourself, like check in with yourself and see, okay, like, am I okay? Like, and go back to asking those whys. But I also want to say that with valuing yourself and prioritizing yourself, and the confidence that comes with that is trusting yourself. Like, first you have to trust yourself that you'll be able to you know, land that interview, or you'll be able, like, you're one of two Black people in your field in at your campus, and you have to trust that regardless of whatever obstacles are coming up, like, you got this, like, you're trusting yourself, and continuing to take steps every day at becoming the best version of yourself.
And I think, not to cut you off, but I think what's important to state, especially now that we're talking about trusting yourself, is to state that none of this is easy, and that trusting yourself is never easy. And that it's a continuous job, and it's a continuous, sometimes it's just getting up in the morning and, you know what, I trust myself, I trust myself, I trust myself, I can do this, I can do this. No matter if you're feeling it or not, just saying that over and over again until you do. Because you can trust yourself all week, and Sunday comes and you don't trust yourself anymore. So I think it's important just to state that it's a continuous job. Improving yourself is a continuous job. It's continuous learning and relearning and unlearning and learning again. It's a continuous trusting and not trusting, and bringing yourself back to where you can trust again, and being confident and losing that confidence in the same day, and having to bring yourself back to that point where you're confident again. So none of it, especially with the trusting part. I had to say it there because
Alex is like,
you know,
trust is a
we're
little
making it sound so easy, but I think once you fully get to where you trust yourself, that's the most beautiful thing in life.
Yeah, I think Okay, so you're right. We did make this episode sound so simple, but like Shalik said, it's not easy. And this is part of life. So this is like a constant battle that people are gonna go through. Like it's not like, oh, I became my best version. If you're still living, you're still not the best version of yourself. Like
Exactly.
you can say that, okay, this
Yeah.
is the best version of me. But I think that like being aware of certain things, like reading, having certain mentors to go to, having certain books to go to, having certain systems in place, like how I at one point had the 10 gratitudes and the 10 desires, like having certain things in place, and certain routines and systems in place will help you when you start to falter, when you start to slip, or when you start to not trust yourself anymore. Then you can be like, okay, I know exactly where to go. I need to go look at this. I need to do this. And then you start working again. It's constantly taking steps. When you're not taking steps anymore, then there's a problem.
It definitely is. You gotta keep climbing. It doesn't ever stop. There was a quote. I don't remember exactly who said it, but I remember they said, "You'll reach the top of one mountain, and you got to start on the next." So it's a forever thing, and recognize the things that you're doing and applaud yourself. Give yourself a round of applause for working on yourself, and give yourself a round of applause for overcoming struggle and overcoming anything that may be going on in your life and taking those steps to trusting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, so I agree with that. And then I do just want to say a part of becoming your best self is trying something new. So okay, you might feel like you're the best version of yourself. And if you feel like that, that is fantastic. But I challenge you to go out and try something that you would never, ever try. And then see.
Let's see how good you really are.
Then see how that made you feel. What that brought up for you. Was it comfortable? Was it uncomfortable? Was it like, what happened to you in that moment that you tried something totally off the rocker, like totally something you wouldn't normally do? And then let us know if you're here.
Let us know. Leave it in the comments.
But yeah,
always, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for listening to us. Like Janae said, try something new this week, this month, this year. Give it a shot, give it a go, and you never know what can be successful, and you never know what you can learn out of something. There's a lesson in everything that you do in life, so take those lessons. And you guys have a wonderful week. Definitely tune in to next week's chat.
Yes, we appreciate you guys so much. We love you guys, and we will check in with you guys soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support our podcast, please share it with friends, chat about it on social media, and don't forget to leave a rating and a 5-star review.
And if you want to peek into our personal lives, you can follow Shalix at Shalixandra on Instagram and Janae at Young Black and Momming It. Whatever you do, make sure to follow the Question It podcast on YouTube and Twitter. We'll chat next week.